Hey everyone, welcome to Empower Hour with New Hour. We're going to be talking today with people who make a difference in our community, in our state, and most importantly, women who have survived incarceration and the impact that it has had on their life. I'm Serena, the Executive Director of New Hour, and your host today. We're going to be joined by an amazing two women who have survived incredible challenges. Christi and Dee are joining us with the Louisiana Parole Project, and they're going to be talking with us about their work in Louisiana. Super excited to hear from them, so can't wait. We're here with Dee. We're super excited to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So Dee, tell me a little bit about Louisiana Parole Project and what brought you to where you are now. We got to hear from you yesterday in our Emerge class. You were inspiring. Tell us more.
Okay. My name is Demetria C. Moore, and I have served 25 years of a life sentence in a Louisiana correctional facility for women in Louisiana. I have my sentence overturned from a second-degree murder charge to a manslaughter charge, and was given 25 years credit for time served. So now I'm out.
Yes.
I've been out 2 years, and I was a client through the Parole Project. The Louisiana Parole Project will help transition long-term offenders, people that did long-term. They help us transition us into society. Help us get our IDs and SNAP benefits and all the things we need, giving us a place to live so we won't have to worry about that aspect of transitioning. Mm-hmm. So they helped us transition. We take classes, social norm classes to teach us how to use the phone. And because when I got locked up, beepers was popular. Using
a beeper.
Right. I didn't have access to a phone and digital banking and all those.
And technology is really hard to keep up with. Never mind if you've missed 25 years of it.
Right.
But tell me a little bit too about what you did behind bars, because you said something inspiring to me yesterday. And you talked a lot about, you have a nickname on the inside.
Yes.
But tell me a little bit about your theory on this, because I agree with it.
Okay. Well, being in, starting off my journey, I had to fight to get my GED. I was in Orleans Parish Jail. People that's on murder charges, they were not allowed schooling. So I had to fight to get schooling and talk to the chief. He allowed me to get schooling because, as I so eloquently pointed out in my own way, that school is in the same area where the dentist at. I can go to the dentist, but I can't go to school. Like,
why were they saying you couldn't go to school?
I think it was because they had at that time, Orleans Parish had a high rate of escapes. So
they were just not letting anyone get an education.
Wasn't letting us go to get education. They wasn't letting us go to funerals. My mom died while I was in Orleans Parish. I couldn't go to her funeral because people go to funerals and they escape. So,
how old were you?
When my mom died, I was 27.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was like 26. I was 26 when my mom died. And I wasn't able to go to the funeral because of that. But I dropped out in a half a year left for the 12th grade. So I was like, I'm going to get something while I'm here. So I so eloquently pointed out in my own way, hence the nickname. I'm leading up to the nickname.
Eloquently pointing out means Dee.
It's like, I was like, to the point, like, I make it make sense.
Yeah.
Explain it to me like I'm a 3-year-old.
That's right.
I can go fill out a call out to go to the dentist, but I can't go to school that's in the next door over. So he was like, how you know that was a school? I'm like, I'm in prison. I'm not crazy. Like, I observe my surroundings. I say I come from the hood. I have to observe my surroundings.
Right.
So needless to say, after weeks of fighting with the chief, he allowed me to get my GED, and I got my GED in Orleans Parish.
Yes.
So fast forward to...
You had to advocate for yourself to get that.
Yes. So I get to LCIW. When I got to LCIW is the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women.
So it's only women?
It's only women.
And how many women were there when you were incarcerated?
When I got there, it was over 1,000 women.
1,000 women 25 years ago. And is this for all of Louisiana State?
Yes, we're the main, as like Angola is the big prison, we're the main correctional facility for women. Other facilities are like what they call them,
jails or
like jails or parishes or satellite camps. The name that they use.
Call it, yeah.
But we was the intake center, the head thing. So I couldn't go to none of the satellite camps because I had a life sentence. So I had to go to LCIW, which people say St. Gabriel because it's in the town of St. Gabriel.
Wow.
So we call it St. Gabriel. So I'm like, I'm going to St. Gabriel. They were like, you are. And I'm like, this. But I get it.
Yeah. You're like, this is not church.
This is not. So I get there, and when I get there in 2001, of course, lifers couldn't go to school. They couldn't take classes. They couldn't.
So you had 25 to life.
I had life.
You had life. Natural life. And what year were you sentenced?
I was sentenced in 2000. And I went to prison in 98. Well, I went to jail in 98.
And you were how old?
I went to jail in 98. By 2001, I was like 26.
Wow. So your whole life was actually ahead of you, but what you were looking at was life behind bars.
Basically for not setting boundaries and taking up for my friend, and somebody lost their life that I'm not proud of. I wasn't the actual shooter, but I still got the same amount of time.
I think a lot of our community automatically think that you have to be the person who actually commits the crime in order to get that kind of sentence. But the truth is that there are huge sentencing disparities when it comes to women. Life in prison just does not make sense for so many reasons.
Right.
But so you're in.
So I'm in there. So now I'm like, okay. I had a cousin that was in Angola that told me once I make it to LCIW, to make sure that I get into all the programs. Mm-hmm. So that set my course. Now I wasn't an angel in prison because I had to transition. Right. It was a immediate transition. Like you had to come from being free to prison life, and you had to jump in that. Like
it's a whole different culture.
It's a whole different. Nobody trains you how to be how to manage yourself. Right. So it's like you got to. So I get there and I'm like, okay, I want to get in this class. No, you can't because you're a lifer.
Which by the way, you're doing a great job at a transition. You're saying like, if I have to be here, let me at least get my education.
Yes.
So at 20 something years old, you were actually doing the right thing for yourself.
Right.
And had to advocate even to get that. And so fast forward.
So I fight to get in all these classes, and that's when, because I'm always fighting with administration.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting with administration.
They know your name.
Not in a bad way, but to get in classes, to advocate. And so I fought to get in substance abuse and parenting classes because we couldn't get in there. And then a chaplain, that's deceased now, Chaplain Summerall, he fought for us to get the New Orleans Theological Seminary.
Wow.
Where I got my bachelor's degree in Christian ministry.
Yes.
So when I got out in March, I walked across the stage.
Wow.
The second one to walk across the stage, a girl got out before me. She walked across the stage.
And so how long have you been home now?
I've been home 2 years now. I've been home 2 years. When I got home, my first trip, I went to Switzerland to go to the UN. I was with a coalition that went to get the UN to push the United States to stop sentencing us to what we call DBI, death by incarceration.
And death by incarceration, it truly is, when you're serving a life sentence, you're looking at death as the end result. You said something really amazing in our leadership class yesterday. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said something about how if we are here just to promote programs for the prison, that's not enough.
No,
the programs need to be supporting the people.
Yes.
And if we're getting something out of it, then that's why it should be happening. Tell me a little bit more about what you were thinking about that.
I was thinking about, because you have programming everywhere. Institutions throw programs out but they're not tailored to the people.
Yes.
Because when you're in prison, you're dealing with people from different walks of life, different educational level, different social economic status.
Yes.
And you can get a college level program for me, but that don't mean it's going to benefit everybody else. Lived experience is missing.
Yes.
It's the lived experience. Somebody that's coming in talking to me about doing prison time and they never did prison time ain't gonna reach me.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It has to be a peer model. And this is interesting because you hear correctional officers, superintendents, wardens, whoever they are, that run prisons, they will say, oh, we want peer leaders. We want people who've been here to come in and be like upstanders. But how many of us do they actually let in? Because they don't let that many of us in.
Right.
Oh, what was the conviction and when was it? And so is that model something that you see happening in Louisiana State Prison for Women now?
Yes.
Or was it not happening then?
It's not happening then, but it's happening now.
It's happening now.
And I, for one, I was chosen to be a peer support specialist, and I can get to go back in DLC. So I'm a contract employee for DLC to go back in to teach classes for women.
What's that like going back in?
Going back in, it was it wasn't hard
because I'm like there.
Listen, I'm done. Don't try to lock me in here.
I want to leave. I am leaving at the end of the day.
We always hear, when I was in, I always hear, oh, so-and-so doing so good. She doing this, this, and this. But we never got to see success.
Meaning you.
Right. I never got to see success. But now that I'm going in, they can actually see what I'm doing. They can actually see
you as the success. They can feel like you left and you're coming back in, showing them what's possible. Because usually people leave and they don't come back.
Yeah, because we hear, oh, Demetrius is doing good. She got 3 jobs. She got a house. But we never see that. So it gives us a little hope, but just to see the hope transform on their faces when I walk back in.
It's real life.
It's real life.
Real,
and it's like, they got out from doing a life sentence. I can do it too. I got 15 years left, or I got 5 years left. I can get out and I can do this. And I always tell them, this can be you.
Yes.
And I had one classification person tell me when I got out, when you get out, don't let them know you've been in jail. I'm like, why? Because the jobs I had in prison is jobs that they have in the free world. They have libraries. I was a library.
Yeah.
I was a library aide. I know to do a decimal system. I worked as a sound booth for 10 years as a sound technician in the sound booth. So there's churches I can work for.
More importantly, the fact that people tell you have to hide your past, it actually doesn't create the freedom that you actually need in your head, in your mind, and in your heart. You need to own who you are. Right. And listen, we know where we've been. We know what we've been through. And look what we're doing now.
Yeah. So,
do you think women there are fighting or like leading the fight after you left? Because I know from Bedford, I was incarcerated at Bedford, and one of the women serving a life sentence there, she said to me, these young girls coming in, they don't have the same fight to advocate for themselves that we had 25 years ago. Do you see that in Louisiana, or do you see people taking up the torch and saying, we're going to fight for better conditions or more programs or keeping the thing going?
We have some fighters in there. And the thing about that is people that I've seen aren't fighting because they don't know how. They don't know how to fight. They don't know where to start. They don't have a voice. They don't think that their voice matters. I'm in here, I'm going to do my time, I'm going to lay low. That was my motto until I was like, it's got to be better. So we have women in there fighting for better access to the law library, better access to sanitary. Sanitary
conditions, sanitary items, and feminine.
Feminine items.
It feels like in the last 25 years of doing this work, sometimes I feel despondent because it's like you fight, you get a little, and then they roll it back, and then you fight, you get a little, and then they roll it back. Like ultimately, we at New Hour don't see the purpose of prisons and jails. They don't actually help people. They harm people most often. However, we don't have any other system out there to both hold people accountable and give you a way to make amends or repair damage. But when you're inside, I met some of my favorite people. They're family to me, yes. Sisters and aunts and grandmothers, and there was all kinds of people who poured life into me. And what is that like going back in and seeing them still there and you're out?
I mean, it's bittersweet, seeing them in there and I get out, but it's also a joy to let them know that once you get out, you can make it. Yes. You can do it. I mean, times has changed from $20 in a bus ticket. That's what they used to give us. $10 in a bus ticket.
Me too. $20 in a bus ticket. Yep.
Times has changed. Yeah. With the Parole Project, with the Diamond House, they have with New Life.
Is that the house
that's
that you
like
go
different
to?
Housing transition.
Louisiana Parole Project.
The Louisiana Parole Project, but through Vote. Mm-hmm. It's through Vote. It's like different organizations doing the same fight, but with those organizations, men and women have somewhere in Louisiana that they can go to, because you're not alone. You're not just out there.
I've met some of the folks that Vote. It's a wonderful. We know Gabrielle Thurman Perry at the Thurman Perry Foundation.
Yes.
Louisiana has a beautiful group of community members who are all connected. Yeah. And when Andrew Hunley, who's the executive director of Louisiana Parole Project, he said, "I have 2 of my staff I want to send to New Hour to come visit." I was like, absolutely, because I see the photos of older people coming home. Yeah. I mean, men and women who are, you look young, but but you see them coming home. And many times when they come home, they may be alive a year, 6 months. I know somebody who came up to me. She said she got her dad out on clemency. He died the next day. Wow. These are the stories that you hear because people are serving such long sentences that they're coming home when they're coming home pretty much the end of their life. Right. You're lucky because you have the beginning of your life. The best is yet to come here for you.
Yeah. So I am a new employee I'll be starting in November.
Well, thank you, Dee, for joining us. And
thank you for having me.
So honored to hear your story and talk with you. We could keep talking.
Yeah, we can keep talking, but unfortunately, we both have things.
Yes.
And I love this space. I love this space.
Thank you. And you're going into not our jail, but the jail on Long Island. You're going to be heading in there to visit the women today. So thank you for giving to us your beautiful self and soul and light. And we're honored to know you. And
I'm honored to hear.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much for being here. So tell me a little bit about how you came to know Dee, because you talked in the leadership program yesterday, and it was so moving. And I think all of our women who've been incarcerated, like myself, we're always looking for that glimmer of hope, always looking for that next, okay, that's the way. So tell me how you know Dee and how you came to this work.
So Dee and I, of course, I came to prison at 16. And I met Dee in early 2000s, I would say, when I went to LCIW. And of course, when I went to LCIW, I was just about to turn 18 when they sent me there.
And LCIW, I know, is Louisiana
Correctional Institute
for Women. Okay.
Right. And so I come to know her being at LCIW. And Dee and so many other women were just so gracious to take me under their wing and mentor me. I was young. I was in that mentality that I didn't belong there because and
did you really? You were 16 and 18. You didn't really belong there.
But I had to come to realize that for the wrong and the mistakes that I made in my past, I had to be held accountable. And I understand that now. I just didn't understand that quite then. But having that older generation. And when I met Dee, she was already established in doing her
life. She was serving life.
And she was doing the things that she needed to do within her community to make her time, easier. Mm-hmm. Rather than letting the time do her, she was doing the time And that's what I gravitated to. That was inspiring to me because I was young, I had no direction, and I needed that. I needed that motherly love and affection and guidance from those other women. And that's exactly what she gave me. And so with that, over the years, it was just...
How many years were you there?
I was there for 25 years. I served 25 years. I had a life sentence.
You don't look old enough to have been there 25 years. But then again, you know, going in so young, I often think that the way we sentence women is egregious. We sentence women to much longer periods of time than men. And we sentence women younger. To imagine being there at 16 years old. And my son is 14. And I was 19. I just turned 20 when I was incarcerated. I mean, we were babies.
Yes.
And I think about the women who mentored me too, right? Like how lucky to have been given the gift of meeting women like this.
Such a wonderful gift. And it's something that I carry with me each and every day. When I think about, I don't think about the people that I left behind. I never say left behind. I always say departed from. Mm-hmm. And that's why I loved helping people while I was in prison and knowing that I've always been a helper or doer of others and a servant unto other people. I knew that there was no doubt in my mind that I had to be connected to something that was so powerful to be able to give back no matter what. And so for me, you know, coming home in 2019, thankfully, I was able to go through the Parole Project and they helped guide me through my transition because my family was by no means prepared for what I needed.
Yes.
I'm not talking materialistic things. I'm not talking financial means. I'm talking the tools that I needed to navigate and start a life for myself.
You know, I always talk about this, that being incarcerated is like going to the Vietnam War. You go, you experience all this harm and trauma and experiences, and then you come home and your family's like, oh, you're not the same person? You're going to just pick up and pretend everything's... You are forever scarred, challenged, changed. And I love what you said about the people who you've departed from, because you create a whole community behind bars and then you have to leave them. And then what, right? Like you've got your family that you made over those 20 something. That's a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
25 years. How many years? 25. That's a whole lifetime of people that are family to you. So how do you feel now being out and then you go back in?
Yes. And so that's what I wanted to comment on, you know, being able to go back in. And now I will say this, I don't know if it'll ever get any easier.
Yeah.
Because every time I walk out, I still feel the same feeling that I felt the day that I left. And it's something that I'm probably going, over time, it may get a little easier, but I always still feel that same. My heart is just like feeling like it's being ripped apart because there's so many women there that are no less deserving than myself, who have done everything in their power to rehabilitate themselves, to become better individuals, and are doing wonderful things in their community and still have to be there. And
this is why prisons are senseless. Like we held a rally outside of Bedford Hills to advocate for better conditions during COVID. And as I looked at the bars and the gates and the watch commander and the fencing, it was like the futility of this is ridiculous. The fact that these women, that there's just bars that keep them for the rest of their life there while I get to be out here. This is why prisons and jails don't make sense. You know, once you've reformed, you should be allowed to go home.
Exactly.
Once you've, and I don't even want to say reform because sometimes things happen and it's not your fault. I think women often take responsibility. We believe in accountability.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But there are so many women who got caught up in things because of family violence, domestic violence, mental illness. They don't belong in prison forever.
And I totally agree with that because And I wish, I'm able to sit among the parole board hearings, and
Really?
yes. And so I get to go in person to the headquarters, especially, well, of course, I work with both men and women, but especially for the women. I go and I bring a group of women with me. We can fit about 10 in the at headquarters to be there in person, just to show the board that we have a community of women out here who are supporting them.
Are the women live in person? Because in New York now, they do a video, which is also not great.
So the person who is going to the board,
Parole board,
is on a Zoom.
So they're not in person.
So they're not in person. They're on a Zoom. But we are able to go in person
to represent, to
support them. And
does that make a difference?
Oh God, I believe so, Serena.
I mean, I know the answer, but I'm like, I have to ask you this question.
This is what I feel. I'll never forget the day that I went to the parole board and I heard all of the names of the people who were there to support me. And I will never forget what it made me feel. It made me feel loved. It made me feel supported. People I hadn't seen in years were there, and just hearing the names, I didn't see them, but I heard the names, and I'll never forget what that made me feel like. And I feel like it does the same for them when they hear Christy Shermy, Demetria C. Moore, Sabrina Parks. When they hear the names of the women who have come home and are there to support them, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it makes them feel loved and supported.
And not alone.
And not alone. It is so easy to feel alone in that place. I don't know. I can't imagine. And I've seen so many women. I can't imagine not being able to pick up the phone and call somebody, or not having a visit.
Not having anyone to call.
Right.
Like, we've gotten calls at the office. It's why I created New Hour, because literally when I went to jail, I thought my life is over. Everything is done. I have nothing. And then when I came home and realized women don't have anything out here, we created New Hour to fill that gap. Beautiful. And, we were talking about our inner child in the last Emerge session. How do you heal your inner child? You reach back and you say, you did the best you could with the tools you had. And my God, look at the work you're doing now. You should feel so proud.
And I am. But I'm so humbled by it. Like, I don't take one moment of it for granted. Mm-hmm. This was a gift to me, and I treat my life as a gift because my freedom is a gift.
Yes.
I feel like, yes, I done the work. I did everything that I was supposed to do to get me to this point, but I still treat it as a gift. I will never take any of it for granted. Every day for me is a brand new day. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm living life for the very first time.
You actually are.
Literally. And that's how, like, I see these things. And we were walking through Target yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation with one of the ladies that we have me and Demetria have mutual friends. And we were speaking with her yesterday, just sharing our experience. And she said, remember we used to sit on the patio outside of Sim Sport, and we used to always just talk about being on the other side of the gate.
Yes.
She said, your mind, she said, you never was consumed with the prison. You always felt like one day. And that was that hope. That was maybe one day. Maybe I won't die here.
Yes.
But even in the event that I did, I still wanted to be a good person. I still wanted to treat people like and I lived by that golden rule.
And your mind was free even in prison. And this is amazing because I hear this over and over. Amani Davis, a wonderful, amazing friend of mine, her dad did many, 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 many years in prison, Jamona. And he said, not one day was I in prison. My mind was free the whole time. And yes, there are conditions that create harm and isolation and pain, but it's where your hope lies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And if it wouldn't have been for the hope, my spiritual walk, I don't know if I would have ever gotten through that, because I could have went two ways. I could have become a product of my environment and just got lost in the system, or do what I needed to do within the system to become a better person.
And become what you're doing now is giving back. And, I feel like there's just like a light that emanates from you and Dee. And it resonates with me because at New Hour, we're always looking to sort of help people see their light. And I often say, I talk to my son a ton about having been incarcerated. And I always say to him, I'm not proud that I was incarcerated, but I am damn proud of what I'm doing because of it.
That's right.
Now.
That's right.
And so that's all we can do.
Yeah. And so because of my experience and because I know those women, those men that we're working with, we see a lot of success and helping guide people just through the same processes. I'm only able to give somebody my experience, right?
Yes.
The journeys that I've walked almost in my 7 years. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of the work, no matter how little, how small it may seem.
Yeah.
To me, it's huge. I mean, it's a huge impact.
Go to a parole board and have people say to you, like, there's people here supporting you, because going to a parole board is overwhelmingly the denials. It's like 95% of people are denied or more. It's a huge letdown, and it's a very exhausting emotional experience. I've heard people say, I don't even want to go back to the parole board again because it's just going to be another denial. So to know you guys are doing this work is incredible.
Yes. And I love it. And I just can't see my life without it, really and truly. I didn't know exactly where I was going to fit coming home because I didn't I shared this yesterday. I looked out the window as we were riding when they picked me up to bring me to the parole project, my first day home. And I looked out the window and I was like, Lord, where am I going to fit?
Yeah.
Where am I going to fit?
Your whole life was spent behind bars.
Right. Because I spent over half of my life,
your life
behind bars. And it was the only thing that I knew.
That's what you knew.
Right.
That was life.
That was life for me.
Yeah.
And so my transition was, I think, as easy as it could be.
Because you had that job lined up too.
Well,
or that space.
Right. So immediately I started working like after 3 weeks of being home.
Yes.
And get me back into, that was my very first job. And it was the one thing that I was skilled in, because while I was in prison, I was a horticulture tutor. I took the class and for many years I tutored it. So that was the one skill set that I had. And
I could never get into horticulture. There was such a long wait. I used to walk by and see the greenhouse and say, oh, it'd be so nice to work there.
And it was very therapeutic. It was so therapeutic. And it was the one skill that I had. So that was the job that we had lined up for the Louisiana nursery for me. And then 6 months to the day that I came home, I started working for the Parole Project as a reentry specialist.
Yes.
And just helping and leading, guiding people. And today, I'm able to manage a team and manage staff and just doing everything. And it's, to me, it's continued learning.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I'm continuously learning, and there's no better person than I could be taught by than Andrew. I admire everything about him and the work that he does. And
he was sentenced as a juvenile, correct, to life. I believe
he was 15 years old.
God, my son is 14. I can't imagine being 50. Well, I have to tell you, Christi, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so proud of you. I'm just cheering you on, and I think you're unstoppable. And I'm so grateful to have you as one of our first guests on our first podcast. Thank you.